Hey guys, it's Mike and Kurt, Fieldcraft Survival. We're doing survival kits today. If you haven't noticed, we specialize in survival. That's what we do.
Modern survival.
Modern survival. The spin on it is, when we talk about modern survival, is that we're a little bit more efficient than bushcraft survival.
Yeah, so we talk about firearms training, we talk about how to use firearms, what to choose with firearms, what to everyday carry, what to use in your vehicle platforms for what we call everyday mobility. We've got an awesome podcast that we enjoy talking about a lot of different things on, but our business talks about modern survival and what that looks like in today's day and age.
And most people aren't interested in survival because they associate it with bushcraft. Hey, they think survival was rubbing sticks together naked in the woods.
Right.
And being afraid.
We like to do that too.
On or off time.
Right.
But
in
here,
loincloths, but here,
we've
got the modern survival kit.
The modern survival kit is focused on optimizing something that's realistically going to save your butt when things go wrong. So if you look at this little case, this nifty case right here, there's a cool story behind it. I'll give you like the 5-second version of it, more like 20. So hey, look, this case is all the things that I discovered through my special operations career, but also as a contractor, that will save you during a 72-hour period. That is based off of 72 hours of water supply that is going to adequately keep you hydrated and alive. The bottom line is, if you don't have water, you're not going to live for very long, typically 2 to 3 days. So we establish all the priorities of survival, that we call staples of survival, and focused on the priorities that are going to save you in a bind, but also made it convenient in size. Because if it's too big, cumbersome, you're not going to utilize it. This, you could stick in a pocket, pouch,
glove box,
purse,
center console.
Yeah, anything that you need, and it's going to save you. So let's kick it off with the #1 priority of survival. Exposure is the #1 priority of survival. The reason why is it's going to kill you the fastest.
Yeah, absolutely. Bad weather moves in. Typically, people get separated from their vehicle if they're going to find help. Next thing you know, weather moves in, and the next thing you know, they're going hypothermic, or they're baking out in the sun, they become dehydrated, and then they die.
Yeah, imagine you're on a remote highway driving in the middle of winter and you go and stop to use the crapper. Well, you lock yourself out of your car and now you don't have anywhere to go, and what happens to you? You either break in your car and struggle to survive inside of your car, or you die in the elements.
Right.
So it's gonna kill you fast. So some of the things that we have to address that is, #1, this.
The Mylar space blanket.
But this is a Mylar space blanket that is around $2.99. Like, that's your cost, $2.99. Our cost is like $1.99. We make $1 off this. But the cool thing about this is it retains heat. This is used in space, so that means it's automatically good.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
We have what on this? We have reflection, right? We can reflect and deflect heat, but we also have signal magically on this. Look, the bottom line is, if you're in a survival situation and you start to bleed because of trauma, you potentially can go into shock because your core body temperature lowers. So the Mylar space blanket is going to retain your body temperature, whether it's trauma, whether it's exposure to the elements, and it's going to save you. If you need to make a fire, which is the next priority, that just gave you a hint of that, it's going to be the next priority, you need to be able to deflect it and retain it. That is going to help you do that. So the next priority.
Yeah, moving on to the next survival staple that we always talk about is being able to start a fire, right? So hugely important, not only if you're in a cold environment to stay warm. Hey, it's nice to start a fire, right? Because it keeps your temperature up, your core temperature up, but we also want to be able to cook, and we also want to be able to boil water if we have to. So tons of different uses for fire. You can use it for signaling, all kinds of different things. But what we've got inside of the modern survival kit is we actually have what we call a ferrule rod. And what you actually do with this is you scrape this, and the magnesium and the other chemicals that are involved in this stick come off, and then you're actually building up a pile of that, and then you light that to help ignite the flame.
This is not fire. You're not going to spark it and it's going to ignite fire in your hands. You need other elements of fuel in order to start that. So this is the magnesium that you're going to scrape in order to ignite the fire. Tinder, small sticks, cotton balls, Vaseline. There's a whole bunch of options for starting fires. But obviously fire is a #1 consideration, not just in morale, but also in survival.
Yeah.
One pro tip, quick pro tip, is signal. If you use green foliage on fire, it's going to produce smoke.
A lot of smoke.
Yep. Let's move on to the next priority, which obviously is going to be water. Look, water procurement. A lot of people talk about water and they go, hey, yeah, there's these sources of water and you could drink from a stream, you could dig a hole and do all kinds of things. But the bottom line is if you can't retain it, then how are you going to travel with it? Or how are you going to survive? If you don't have the ability to survive going from body of water to body of water, then you're in a really bad predicament. So you need the ability to retain it. And that's just not cupping your hands together, right? This is actually putting it in a container. So one of the things that we did was we produced this container, which is a 0.5 liter, and then this
included
magic
our
pill.
Chlorine dioxide.
Yeah, gets rid of all the bad crap that's gonna make you sick in a survival situation to sanitize your water. This company, Potable Aqua, actually recommends 4 hours of this pill sitting in this bag in order for it to be sanitized. So it's something that you have to pre-plan and think ahead in a survival situation.
Yeah, the other thing about just having water in general is being able to wash your hands, to clean yourself and do different personal hygiene things that may actually stop infection and a lot of different things. So water, obviously a huge one, not only for hydration, but for staying clean, cooking, doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, really good point. I've had cellulitis in my face, not fun.
Yeah.
So moving on to signal, which is the next priority. Look, signal is important in survival because there's probably going to be somebody, if you're loved, that's going to come and rescue you. If you're in a situation where you're doing a hike with your family and then you get lost, well, search and rescue is going to be flying, typically in aircraft, or looking from the ground. So we have a couple of different things to address that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of those is actually a small mirror that can be used to actually flash to signal an aircraft or signal somebody on the high ground. And so I've actually used one of these in Iraq during the invasion. When we were talking or trying to communicate, we were talking to them on the radio, but they needed to use a mirror to flash so they knew where our location was with an A-10 jet. So super effective. It does work. I've actually used it overseas, and an aircraft can indeed see it when the flash is seen by the pilot.
So the other component to this is a handy dandy. You know what?
A handy dandy.
I get a lot of criticism on this handy dandy tool because they're like, dude, that's a piece of crap. But the reality is this whistle is a signaling device, but also a compass and a thermometer. And it's 3 things in one, which we always look for in utility and function in the pieces of equipment that we utilize. So obviously an audible signal, and most importantly, probably on this, is a compass for directional navigation.
Absolutely.
All right, so the next priority is going to be some of the accessories that we've added to this particular kit.
Yeah, so starting off with some of the accessories, hey, it's a big deal to actually have a writing utensil and a notebook, right? There's a lot of different reasons for that. One could be locations that you want to keep and write down. So I want you to imagine this. Now I'm in a survival situation. I'm dehydrated. I'm low on food. I'm starting to get tired. You know, physically that affects me, mentally that affects me. And maybe there's certain things that I need to capture and write down, like locations of where I have fresh water or where I found food or something like that, just as an example. But now you've got something to write with, so you can do that. So small write in the rain notebook along with a small pencil that comes in the kit. Just in an emergency type situation, you can still have the ability to do that.
Yeah, pre-planning considerations, right? You're going somewhere in a foreign country, for example, and you need important points of contact. Look, the idea is this isn't the only thing you have. You're not naked afraid with a Fieldcraft survival kit. You actually have a cell phone. You have all these means of communication. So you're organizing all the points of contact that are potentially going to save your butt. And then now you have the frequencies that you're going to communicate via radio signal. Mm-hmm. There's a whole bunch of reasons to have that, and I don't think any of them are bad.
So moving on, one thing I wanted to address real quick is that inside of the kit, we actually have aspirin, sunscreen, which if anybody knows me, they know I have sweet ass hair. So I like to slick it back and on tan ops like a Navy SEAL on the beach. So it's important that you have sunscreen.
Yep.
Again, some aspirin. We've got some antibiotic ointment in here, and then you've got some Band-Aids for some basic stuff. But small package, but you know, a lot of important things that actually can protect you, keep you from getting infections.
I heard that before. Small package.
Yeah. Most importantly, the sunscreen if you're in tan ops.
Tan ops. You have a fire striker in here that does 10,000 strikes. Light My Fire is a really good fire striker, but we're not asking you to go to the last part of your contingency planning. This would be my primary. It's a big lighter. I can't ship you a big lighter without doing ridiculous paperwork. So I want you to go to the store and spend 99 cents to augment your kit to put this big lighter in your kit. Another thing in the PACE plan, which is primary, alternate, contingency, emergency that we always do in the military, is these fancy things here, which are hurricane matches. These could be lit anywhere. The scary thing is if you never used these before, and then you go to blow it out, you can't blow it out. So don't burn yourself like I did. So you're lighting, it's striking, it's gonna stay lit until it gets all the way to the bottom and goes away. You can't blow it out, hence hurricane matches. Also, this Gerber dime. Look, a lot of people have knives on their person or on them, but the reality is you want the ability to have a spare multi-tool to be able to do a multitude of things in a survival situation. This has pliers.
It does.
For pulling hair. This has scissors, it has a knife, it has a whole bunch of things that you could utilize, and it's very small in the actual form factor. And the great thing about this is we actually have two versions of this, which is the TSA version, and we also have the standard version. TSA version you could actually fly with and carry on yourself in most flights, unless they're uneducated TSA members, which there is none of those. So yeah, Gerber dime. What else? One of the things that's in the kit is a light source. It's very important to have a light source, but not just a light source to see within the dark. What I like about this opted light source is people go, why'd you go with a Petzl E-light? It's very expensive. Well, we want to make sure that the priorities that we've prioritized as being the most important are the best pieces of equipment. So yeah, do you sacrifice an extra 10 bucks added to the kit? You do. But what do you get in return? Well, you get a headlamp that's minimalist, that rotates on a bezel, which is insane, and the fact that it has LED lights, but also red LED lights that you could use as a signaling device. If I take this without hitting Kurt in the head, and I use this, I basically create what's called in the military a buzzsaw. The buzzsaw from a faraway distance can be used to
signal somebody.
Signal somebody or something, a helicopter or a rescue platform from miles away. Petzl E-light, bam. So hey, some other considerations before we go into the most important element to this is additional things that you would add in this kit in order to augment it or increase the capability. Look, in my personal kit, I actually carry a Bravo Company BCM skull cap. Now, number one, I'm sponsored by BCM, so it's very important for me to market them. But the second component is retaining the temperature of your core body temperature in your head is something that's very easily done with something like this. This will keep you warm in the event you get cold. If you grew up in the military, you grew up camping, you know this because when you're freezing your ass off and you put this on your head, you actually get a lot warmer because a lot of heat is released from your head.
Yep.
Yeah. Another augmented piece of equipment that we're actually adding is this little guy.
Yep, some 550 cord. So a lot of different uses with 550 cord. We use this in the military all the time, whether it's setting up a clothesline to hang up your clothes, whether it's having to make a weapon system and tie a rock to a stick, maybe to make a weapon system. Anything you can dream up or think about, there's tons of stuff out there where you can look and see how 550 cord is super practical to have. Fishing line, all kinds of different uses. So we want to include that in the modern survival kit to make sure you have this capability or this piece of kit to increase your capability in a survival situation. Another thing that you can augment your survival kit with, we talked about having the ability to have fresh water. So this is called the life straw. You can place this in a water source and you're actually sucking from one end out of the water source. And what happens inside of this is there's a filter that takes out all the bad stuff. You still have the ability to use this to get fresh water so that way you're not getting dehydrated.
Okay, last but not importantly least, I wanted to save this for the big surprise at the end, is we decided to upgrade our kits from the rat tourniquet to the actual cat tourniquet. Now you can get it with the rat tourniquet, but you could upgrade into the cat tourniquet. All right, so here, this is our handy dandy case. Bam. Look, a tourniquet in a traumatic situation is gonna save you and stop you from bleeding out and dying. That's a reality, right? It happens all over the world. Minor car accidents that people think are minor turn and compound themselves into more difficult, complex issues because they don't realize they're bleeding out, they lose a lot of blood, they go into shock, they pass away, they go to sleep, they never wake up. This will save your life, and it's not that big in form factor, fits in the kit, and is an important part of your survival everyday carry.
Hey guys, if you're looking at where you can buy the Fieldcraft Survival Modern Survival Kit, go to www.fieldcraftsurvival.
Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. And as always, be sure you stay alert.
Stay alive.